Hello, everyone. I'm here on this beautiful Friday, October 4th, and I'm here with Ishmael. Ishmael is a good friend of ours, an investor. Ishmael, you're from Austin? Well,
Well,
living in
I'm
Austin,
from
currently.
DC. I will always say I'm from DC, but living in Austin.
Well, we won't hold that against you. Um, just joking. But Ishmael and I are here to talk, the markets, and we're going to do a series of podcasts together. And today, what I want to talk about is just keeping it real. Honestly, and by the word real, I actually mean investment or a return that has been adjusted for inflation, basically. So basically, it's the return minus the rate of inflation. And that's what I mean by keeping it real. Both Ishmael are investors, and I'm an investment advisor with Odyssey Investments. And we just wanted to let you know that inflation, honestly, is the number one cause in destroying wealth. So what do you think, Ishmael?
Well, one, I love how you talked about keeping it real because any return, you have to take out that inflationary impact, right? And when you think about investing, as you mentioned, um, you take that out and that's the real return, right? What that dollar is worth, etc. And we were just talking before hitting record, and there's the hidden tax in our lives. This has existed throughout time, no matter what country or empire or whatever. That is inflation. The cost of things go up. And how do you defeat that? How do you get
Exactly.
past that? I think that's what investing is all about, right? And we're blessed and lucky that we have the American stock market
Yeah.
where investing in it over the long term is going to beat inflation.
Yeah, I mean, and that's true. So, I mean, the truth is, we've talked about inflation for the last 3 years because inflation has been really high these last 3 years, and it's caught people's attention. So people have taken notice because, inflation in 2022 was running at 8%. You realize when things are going up 8%, you realize that, oh my gosh, I went to the grocery store and I paid a lot more for a lot less. But the truth is, over the last 30 years, over the last 30 years, inflation is up 106%. So if you saved a dollar, if you had a dollar in 1995, right? That dollar maybe would have bought you a bag of chips. Nowadays, that bag of chips is $2.06. So if
Mhm.
you would just save that dollar, you can't buy that bag of chips anymore, right? But how do you get ahead of that? I'll tell you, you invest in the stock market, right? The S&P, the S&P 500 in those 30 years is up 825%. So, I mean, the truth is, the S&P on an annual average rate goes up about 10.3%. So that's a real return, keeping it real, a real return of 719% in 30 years. So, I mean,
That's 7x. That's 7x, right? 8x. So
seven
that
times your
$1 is
money.
now $7 right there.
Yep,
So you are way ahead
yep.
of you go into that bag of chips analogy, you can buy 3 bags of chips.
Right. Now you could buy three
Almost.
bags of chips and still have some money left over. Exactly. So that's how to get ahead of inflation. Like I said, I mean, we don't think about it, but it is really that destroyer of wealth. The old saying, put some money away and save some money. The truth is, if you put money away and don't invest it, that money is just being eroded. It's being lost, and you're losing purchasing power without investing it. The only way to get ahead of this is to invest it. And sure, we're all worried about short-term market downturns, but the truth is, I look forward to them because in those short downturns, honestly, those are great times to buy the market at a discount. The market obviously goes up and down on a daily basis, and as an investor, you have to kind of look at those downturns as a great opportunity to get in, at a discount. So.
Well, think about the last 4 years, in fact, March 2020. I think those of us who pay attention knew that was a buying opportunity. That was a historic buying opportunity when the markets crashed as COVID started to really, have
100%.
its impact. And then I think this year we've had two big opportunities. May, when we had a dip in the market, that was a chance to buy. Certainly, I'm sure Dane, you took advantage of it. I
Yeah,
did. And then there was the flash crash of August 5th, which
yeah,
was interesting because you think, oh my gosh, the market's down 2.5%.
yep.
Was interesting, and Dane, I think you know
I
this
was
well,
buying.
folks.
I was buying
Yeah,
that day.
people were buying, and very few folks were actually selling. And guess what? We're up about what 5-6% since
Yeah,
that day. So just right there, you're beating inflation for the year, even at two
yep,
and a half percent, or in 2016 it was 1% or whatever else. So I think Dane, as you mentioned, just investing and keeping your money in the market and buying in those opportunities. We look at the long term, the market always goes up.
yep.
It is the long term you have to look at, but it always does go up.
Yeah, and listen, the other thing I hear is, oh, well, I've invested in my house. I bought a house, and a house is an investment that we all have to make because we all have to live somewhere. Not that we have to buy a house; we can rent certainly, but we do make an investment, and people consider that's my retirement. But the truth is, what people don't realize is that never keeps up with the actual S&P. I mean, house prices over the last 30 years have actually only appreciated 217% over the last 30 years. So, I mean, the housing market has a real return of about 111%, but it's underperformed the S&P by 608%. So basically, yes, like I said, we all have to, live somewhere, and a house is an investment, certainly, but it's not the best investment if you're thinking about saving for retirement. It's really not. And right now, 1 in 4 people at 59 years and older have not saved a dollar for retirement. That's a very scary place to be, because we want to enjoy the older years of our life, and the only way to do that is be proactive, be investing right now, be putting money aside, get yourself in a good position. And just make it so that you can, look down the road and have some money put aside to do the things that you want to do in the later years of your life, right?
Well, just make your money grow for you, and even
That's it.
earlier in your life, right? Like, I think there are things I can do now that wouldn't be possible without the investing. And again, I'm blessed. Inflation hasn't had an impact on myself or my lifestyle because of the investment decisions I made.
Yeah, let the
So
money
it
work for
can
you.
long term, and even in situations like we had the last few years. Again, the S&P since what 2021 is what up 70%, I think, something like that.
Let me see. I can tell
Over
you.
the last 3 years, right? If we look at January 2021, or if we,
Yep. So
overall,
yeah, about 51%,
yeah,
51% over the since 2021. So I mean, like I
yeah.
said, your dollar is now worth more money. You have purchasing power. Certainly, inflation is not up 51% over the last.
Correct.
Inflation over the last
I think
the last
cumulative is about 23%,
Yeah,
right?
right around
Like cumulative.
20%,
Yep.
right around
Yep.
20%. So even over the last 4 years, when we've been talking about inflation on a regular basis, if you watch the news and follow the market, and the only thing you hear is inflation and the Fed, and a lot of noise. Inflation is up 20% over the last 4 years, but the market is up 51%. So I mean, there you go.
And we're at an all-time high today.
Hey,
And
that's it.
all-time highs lead to more all-time highs. Again,
That's it.
I know it's
That's it.
tough for people to really internalize this. The
Yep.
beauty of the American markets, all of them, is they always go up and to the right.
Yep.
Just
Well,
really need
yeah,
the
of course.
proper time horizon.
Over the time horizon, right? Exactly, and it's all about your time horizon, and yeah, keeping your money in the market, and not looking at the day to day. Honestly, I know some people get anxious about it, but the truth is, you just keep it in there, and let it work for you. Yeah. So that sounds great. That sounds great. So Ishmael, thank you so much for joining me
Yeah,
today.
I appreciate you inviting me. I know we've been trying to do this, and we want to keep these short and tight and very, straightforward messages, right? Dan and I are two people who honestly keep it real. This isn't meant to
Yep.
be fancy or anything, but just get a few minutes
Yep.
whenever these come up, and hopefully we have things that help you out.
That sounds great. Well, Ishmael, thanks for joining me today.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right. Talk to you guys soon.